Take a look at these watches, guys. These are all Seiko watches. They're very special Seiko watches. And in the following videos on my channel, an EDC Gunner, if you subscribe, you can expect to see each one of them. But today we're gonna talk about one of my favorites because it's my favorite. I want to talk to you about, let's see, where are you, mate? Where is you? Where are you? Oh no, we have here something like this. Seiko fans will know, but I wanna, oh, there you go, there you are. Seiko Bogue 6139 is the moment, and 6000, 6002, 6005, depends on the different markets, is the reference of these Seiko Bogues. Not every watch is a Seiko Bogue. For example, I see some people calling this one Seiko Bogue. It is the same watch, but it does not look the same. And Seiko Bogue is special because it was the first automatic watch in space, and we did not know that. We did not know that up until the internet and forums, watch forums, if you remember those. I love watch forums. I wish we could go back in those days. It was something magical with these watch forums, and some of the watch nerds, like you and me, on one of those watch forums, they were checking out some space photos, and they noticed a different watch next to a Speedmaster Moonwatch, Speedmaster Professional for Omega. They noticed different watch on Colonel William Bogue's hand. And soon enough, someone wrote to him. It was confirmed and whatnot. And they learned that it was this Seiko. Well, not this Seiko, but it looks the same. The true Bogue has a water resist 70 meters here, and it says here up down automatic, but it has a yellow sunburst dial with a Pepsi bezel, and original Bogue, Seiko Bogue worn from Colonel William Bogue was sold at the charity auction for around, I don't know, 5K or something. Do not quote me on that one. So it has a neat story. So the story is, from what I heard, I cannot tell you because I'm not him, is that prior to getting standard issue Moonwatch, he trained himself to operate chronograph on this Seiko, and he had a Seiko like this. Oh, it was the Bogue. We need some power reserve on this guy, and yeah, he trained himself to operate this guy on this guy, and he wore it on his other hand. Basically, he snuck it up there. So that's a cool story. What's cool about this watch, other than the story, and what's cool about the Seiko chronographs, is first of all, you cannot but not to admire this yellow dial. It's so quirky and funky, this watch. It's incredible. It has a Pepsi bezel. I think this is like the first Pepsi bezel. I don't know, but I heard that people are saying this is the first Pepsi bezel. After that, Pepsi bezel became like the thing. Anyways, so the movement inside is one of the Seiko's first automatic calibers. You know, the Zenith El Primero, like the El Primero first, is the first automatic chronograph, but at the same time, in 69, somewhere in Japan, they were developing the Seiko automatic chronograph. Also, the Heuer with some other partners were also developing the Contax. Zenith is the first, but you can argue the Seiko came out at the same time. It doesn't matter. It's a Columnville vertical clutch chronograph. True piece of horology at the bargain prices. And even though the prices went up for these, and the prices went up for basically all watches, It's still a bargain if you're looking at it as a vertical column wheel chronograph, which it is. And it has an interesting case shape. The watch has a real interesting case shape. It's kind of funky, and it wears on the wrist like a cushion. I don't know what you're gonna call it. It's brushed, polish on the side, case back here, nothing special. The bracelet, Seiko quality. And I have to tell you one thing about these watches. This is inner rotating bezel. You have a decameter scale on the bezel. The minefield of these watches. If you've been following my channel, you know that a couple years ago I purchased one Pogue. This is not mine. Purchased one Pogue, and it was completely aftermarket. I didn't even think about it when I bought it, and some of you pointed out that to me. I still love that watch. It was beautiful and everything, but having learned that it was completely aftermarket, the dial, you can tell this dial has a lots of patina on the loom dots and everything, so you can see it has some age to it. So I know the people can artificially age them, but you can never really be sure, so I'm not really sure. Bezel inserts are standard aftermarket, even bracelets. And yeah, that's the minefield you are getting into. I purchased that Pogue. I was very happy with it, but once I learned it was aftermarket, I got rid of it. The one thing on these Pogue watches is the crown has recessed. The crown is recessed, and it has a here indent. I don't know what you call it. It has an indent here, so that's the original crown. It's not signed, and it's very cool. So yeah, you can see it on my wrist. This is a 41 mil chronograph, and on my 7.5 inch wrist, and it works well. I love the case. I love everything about it. It's not for everyone, and not everyone can own this watch and buy it, but this is not definitely a watch that's latest and greatest, but I think this brings value to the table. This brings value to your collection, and my channel has always been about finding the best deals, best bargains, best value for money. And I think these watches, back in the days, these were bargains, so people only bought them because they liked them, and I certainly like this one. And when you connect the story of the Space Watch, Pogue, and everything, these watches became quite expensive. But nevertheless, very cool watch. And I have more of these cool Seikos on my channel coming up. So make sure to subscribe. And if you want to support me, like this video.